Hello and welcome to Sriram's IES. Today in this session we will be discussing the most important topic for all the GS papers of 1, 2 and 3. Why so? Because UPSC in its PYQs has asked questions based on three topics, that is feminization of agriculture somehow, and gender based you can say planning, feminization, role in agriculture, the SHG's involvement in women empowerment, and per se the topic of women empowerment has been important for UPSC, as we all know that 60% of the food which is produced in developing countries is basically mainly influenced by the women farmers. Further, we all know this thing that agriculture per se employs around 80% of those women who are economically active. Now, why do we need to understand and why do we need to per se give more importance to this topic this year is because 2026 is going to be the International Year for Women Farmers, which was recently declared by the United Nations General Assembly. Now, once we are done with this context, we need to remember that UPSC in its PYQs has given emphasis on this topic. That is three topics: one, women empowerment; second, agriculture; third, food security. Now, once we deal with three topics, we also need to remember that there were key points and keywords which were mentioned in PYQs like gender equity, gender equality, and gender based budgeting also. Once we are done with this context, we all need to remember that all the points which we will be discussing in these slides, will use them in mains answers. That the objective of this discussion should be clear to every aspirant who is watching this video. Clear? At the end, we will also discuss some of the questions, and you will find questions in the description of this video also. Once you go through these questions, they are very straightforward questions. But yes, try to ask those questions to yourself so that you become potent enough to answer those questions. Then only we can structure an answer, and then if you still face issues in answer writing, you can directly come to me and sit with me for an hour in a mentorship session so that you begin your answer writing. Because what's important for UPSC is to write, and to write you all need to fight. So let's begin the discussion. The discussion starts with 2026 being the International Year for Women Farmers. Now, why so? Why are we discussing it? Because UNGA has declared this 2026 as the Year of International Women Farmers. This was supported by over 100 countries, more than 100 countries have supported it. Clear? The resolution which was passed has a critical role in women and their share in agriculture. Now, what is the share of women in agriculture? 60% of the food production in developing nations is basically 60 to 80% of the food production is supported by women farmers. Further, 39% of labor in agriculture in the South Asian nations is in agriculture. 39% of the labor force in South Asian nations in agriculture is basically women. Now, once we are understanding that women have a critical role in agriculture, we need to understand that these topics are important for UPSC. And why UPSC is focusing on this? Because we find clear mentions of women empowerment in our mains syllabus. Now, once we are done with this, let's move forward. Background and the context. Why was this set up? Because there is a program known as ENACT program which is implemented in Nagaon, Assam. This program is implemented by the government of Norway, the Embassy of Norway, and the government of Assam. Now, this program basically talks about and deals with actually the empowerment of women in providing them the drought resilient and drought resistant crops, the climate resilient techniques for agriculture. Done. Now, this program basically deals with the new age challenges of climate change in agriculture, but per se it basically focuses specifically on the woman. Therefore, on this program, ENACT program, there were continuous discussions between the Norway Embassy, the officials from Norway Embassy, and World Food Program of India and the Government of India. Thereafter, after all of these discussions, there came this program, that is the ENACT program. This ENACT project, this is basically about the climate adaptation and climate resilient agriculture. After that, we also need to remember that women in agriculture have a critical role. As I said, 60 to 80% of food production, 39% of agricultural labor, and 80% of all the women who are economically active are in agriculture itself. 14% of the landowners are women, but as per the National Family Health data, it says that 14% of women are landowners. But remember that only 14% have land. That means that all the women who are involved in agriculture are basically landless, which makes it problematic for the women of Bihar. Like in Bihar, we have recently seen that women are unable to find the financial resources and they are dependent and they cannot approach the mainline or mainstream financial resources like banking services, NBFCs, small finance banks. Rather, what they need to are dependent on is the middlemen, the money lenders, due to which there was the, I can say, there was basically feminization of rural debt, which we have seen recently. This was another term, feminization of rural debt. What is feminization of rural debt? Why this is happening? And this led to the feminization of NPAs also. Okay. This is something which was discussed last year in editorials. Now, what happened by this and why is this happening is because the men in Bihar, they are moving out. Migration for what? For industry and service based factors. Now, the point is that these points like feminization of rural debt and other such points create challenges for women in agriculture. So these challenges, if we see, there are structural challenges also, there are policy challenges also, and there are logistical challenges also with respect to the women empowerment or with respect to women in agriculture per se. Talking about this, you must remember that the women in Rajasthan, they are running dairy farms. They are running dairy farms, but they lack their participation in decision making, whether that is financial decisions or whether that is the enlargement of their farms. Further, in Punjab, we are seeing that there is over mechanization of farms, due to which traditionally we had a division of labor, that is जो हम traditional level पे देख रहे थे division of labor कि male जो है वो बाहर जाएगा कमाने और women जो है वो घर पे रहेगी और घर का काम करेगी. This division of labor is there in the agricultural field also. Women are forced to do the little things or do less profitable things like sowing of the seeds, sowing of paddy seedlings, further weeding out the paddy seedlings. Rather, the mechanization, the tractors, the combines, the harvesters, they are driven by men only. Due to which, what is happening is that there is a deeper division of labor in the agriculture also. And in Punjab, this is clearly mentioned. Why? Because there is over mechanization and there is contract farming. Due to which we can see that all the male members are in agriculture, but what is happening is that women are forced to lower or low skill or less skill jobs and they are getting less or menial wages on daily basis. Clear with this? Further, in Odisha, women are specifically in subsistence farming. They are specifically in subsistence farming and animal husbandry, which creates low income, and this also creates low income and unpaid labor for women, due to which the gender-based inequality in agricultural fields or in these sectors, or I can say in the agricultural activities per se, is now becoming another challenge for women. Clear? In Madhya Pradesh also we have seen that women are now practicing, but in some states we are seeing, like Madhya Pradesh, women are practicing the resilient cropping patterns. They are using the drought resilient crops, due to which their income from agriculture is increasing. Clear? Now, as per the female labor force participation rate, we saw that in 2023-2024, this increased to 47%. Female labor force participation rate increased to 47%. But what does this data actually signify is that there is feminization of agriculture, which was asked by UPSC earlier, that women are getting more role into this agriculture, and how should we deal with this. But remember that there is a specific and more in-depth problem in agriculture and women's role in it. As I said, one was the feminization of rural debt. Another problem could be this, that is that when we see that women actually are in agriculture, they are 80% of the workforce is in agriculture, but the problem is, despite their contribution being high, even in their household, their income is not calculated, their powers of decision making and financial decisions, they are not being given to them. Like as we see that political empowerment of women is there, we are giving 33% of the this reservation to women, but the problem was in depth. What is the problem? Sarpanch Pati, Sarpanch son, and Panch Beta. That actual decisions are being taken by the Sarpanch, the Pati, the husband, the son. Why? Because the role traditionally has been fixed. That is the layer where we need to penetrate deeper, and there we need to provide solutions in our answer also for such questions which will come up in your UPSC mains. Clear? Now, after this, as we know that there is gender inequality in land ownership also, because only 14% of the land is owned by women, while as they contribute to 80% of the workforce. Further, we need to remember that UPSC asked a question on this. There is probability that UPSC may ask a question on this. But when we talk about women in agriculture, we need to remember that we have around 195 million people who are undernourished. Remember this, we have 195 million people who are undernourished. Our rank on global food security index was 68 out of 113 countries, 113 countries. The problem is that with these two facts, we need to remember that every contribution which will lead to increase in production of agriculture is beneficial. Specifically, when we talk about women in agriculture, they are in organic farming, they are climate sensitive farming. Clear? Now, once we know these two things, we need to promote the role of women more and more. So, the challenges like limited land ownership, like inadequate financial access, as I said in Bihar, information and technology gap, because women are not technically advanced, they are not having those skills also in India. Now, these challenges need to be removed. As we discussed all of these challenges in Punjab, Odisha, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, we need to work on these challenges, and these are the points which we will be using in our mains answers. Now, How to do this? Government has taken some of the steps. Government has worked in such, I can say, in such direction and helped women to get out of these problems. Like we have Mahila Kisan Sashaktikaran Pariyojana. This basically deals with skills and resource enhancement. We have a sub-mission on agricultural mechanization, which offers 50 to 80% subsidy on farm machinery. All the machinery which costs high to farmers, this machinery is provided at subsidy rates. Further, we have National Food Security Mission, which provides around the total budget of National Food Security Mission. Out of that total budget, 30% of it is earmarked for women farmers. That 30% of it will go to women farmers. Such initiatives like Jivika Didi, Jivika initiative of Bihar government. This too is for women empowerment. Further, we have Kudumbashri of Kerala government. Kudumbashri of Kerala government. This initiative, or I can say that the social work which this NGO is doing is at the massive scale for women empowerment only. Further, we have Kisan Sakhis. Kisan Sakhis by government of Maharashtra. Okay. Remember this, we have recently launched the Drone Didi. Initiative. Okay. So these initiatives do help women to prosper more in agriculture. Further, all of these schemes, and there is a special mention of ENACT project. This ENACT project, as I said, is working in Assam, Nagaon district for two things. One is climate related information and facilitating the informed decision making. That is what the ENACT program will do. Clear? Understood yahan tak? Chalo next. Women and climate resilience in agriculture. So how should we approach, or how women should approach for climate resilience in agriculture? First of all, you need to remember that the problems like that, a problem in West Bengal, specifically in West Bengal, is that women are employed or they get their daily livelihood or wages from paddy fields. But in these paddy fields, what happens is that women are involved in low market transactions. Rather, they are majorly involved in the paddy field, like sowing, harvesting, weeding out the paddy saplings. Rather, their financial decisions and market involvement is very less. So, what we should do with the climate resilience part of women is that they should be given chances for climate resilient agriculture. They should be promoted for this climate resilient agriculture. How? Giving them technology, aiding them with technology, and like the farmers, women farmers in Madhya Pradesh, they are using the climate resilient crops and seeds. The impact of climate change increases the domestic responsibilities and agricultural risks for women. Domestic responsibilities, as you know that family में जो pressures होते हैं वो सारे pressures, plus domestic responsibilities, the economic burdens, this feminization of rural debt. Further, the agricultural risk of women is also increased. ENACT project, this basically talks about one more aspect of it, is the flood resilient crops or flood resistant crops. Agro-climatic advisories, that information based decision making कैसे होगी ENACT प्रोग्राम से? हर एक वुमेन के पास timely information जाएगी for all the climate related updates, whether that is weather related updates, whether that is precipitation or flood, hail, or you can say the sleet, whatever the information is about the changes in climate or whether the changes in weather which are destructive for crops, those information, that forecasting, or you can say the weather-based forecasting will be provided to women at earlier basis through this ENACT project. Clear? Last में, there is a suggestion that we can adopt is climate adaptation information centers. These information centers will enable them for video conferencing and peer learning. They will provide training to the women farmers. Clear? Chalo next. Next we have the partnerships and institutional support. How women can develop partnerships and institutional support. As I said that the Kudumbashri or SHGs, the role of SHGs becomes critical over here. As I said, the SHGs in Uttarakhand, they are basically working on the products which can be generated or which can be created side by side through allied activities of agriculture, like honey. Traditionally, whatever they are producing, whether that is the, in Uttarakhand we see that the apricots, horticultural fruits, plus out of this and beyond this, what they have included is, recently we have seen different SHGs coming up with, you can see household products like papad or spices, or you can see the honey, or you can see agro-based products. These products through SHGs get a specific market share, due to which the market involvement and financial decisions of these women who are involved in SHGs becomes easier. That is why there is this institutional support and there is partnership or collaboration in this field, which is very much essential. Further, state and district administration, this including the Department of Agriculture, Meteorology and Environment, all of these departments need to collaborate with each other so that they provide what? They provide at least meaningful and productive information to women. Further, technology partners, agricultural universities and research institutions, these should at least collaborate with each other so that they develop new techniques and technologies for drought resilient and new age challenges in the prospect of climate. They develop new age solutions to the problems which climate change is posing to agriculture and per se women in agriculture. Clear with this? Next is community-based innovations and notable interventions. As I said that women in different areas, like in Assam, this ENACT program, in which all the women, the government of India, the government of Assam, government of Norway, World Food Program and the Nagaon district administration is basically collaborating. It is an international, local and the district administration collaboration which is empowering the women of specific area to develop their agricultural capabilities. That is how we need to provide. And this ENACT program basically specifically is targeting nature-based solutions for gender transformative approaches towards agriculture. Clear? Chalo. With this, we also need to remember that flood-resistant rice and nutritious local varieties can be developed. Women-led farmer groups for seed production systems to ensure sustainability can be developed. As I said, Madhya Pradesh mein, the women in MP, they are working on resilient farming, or I can say climate resilient farming practices. The women in West Bengal, they are in paddy fields. Further, the women in Rajasthan, they are running dairy farms. The women in Andhra Pradesh, they are directly involved in organic farming and organic farming market also. Clear? Chalo. Last, what we need to do is gender sensitive policy design should be implemented, which will at least include, there are some keywords जो मैंने यहाँ पे use किए हैं, ये keywords आप अपने आंसर में भी यूज कर सकते हो. Gender sensitive policy decisions. Further, these policies should be at granular level. They should be gender disaggregated. The data should be disaggregated to shape the policy. There should be tools, credit systems and training which we need to provide to the women for their specific needs. Further, strengthening the women-led value chains. How women-led value chains can be developed when women-led involvement is increased in these value chains. How we can increase it? We need to promote the women-managed agri chains. Okay? That they all do not only need to be at the production stage, rather they need to ensure, we need to ensure their involvement in different stages, whether that is wholesale, whether that is market, whether that is retail, or whether that is e-commerce. Everywhere their participation should be equal. Rather, what we discussed was that 80% of the workforce or 80% of the economically active women, they are in agriculture only. The workforce is in agriculture, but they have only 14% of the women who have land, who are landowners. Therefore, the critical point which we can derive over here is that they do not have clear participation in value chains, which we need to ensure. We also need to ensure their financial inclusion. We as government or as future bureaucrats, we need to write these points. Why? Because this is what steps we need to take when we are in charge of policy. Information access via SHGs. ठीक है, this takes a key role, SHGs. And SHGs के बारे में UPSC इससे पहले भी पूछ चुका है question. Last में food security is important. Further, this International Year of Women Farmers 2026 is important, and this is a historic moment. Why is this a historic moment? Because this will enhance food security. How it will enhance food security? Because these women will be, I can say they will provide more towards climate resilient and gender equality. This will also help in recognizing and empowering women's role in agriculture. This will also help in promoting the inclusive agricultural development and sustainability. Clear with these points? I guess this is all for this topic. What you need to remember is that there are some questions given in the description of this video. आप वो questions अपने आप से पूछो and try to answer those questions. If you attempt those questions, do share your answers to me, or you all are welcome to join me in mentorship sessions so that we plan and chalk out all the strategy from beginning till end, because we are only left with 10 months now for the next prelims. Thank you. Jai Hind.